Hi everyone and welcome to GCSE Revision with MFS. In this video we look at cancer. We focus on the key parts of the specification and how you can gain full marks on exam questions. Please ensure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to ensure you never miss a video from GCSE Revision with MFS. If you would like to join our live lessons, the link to book your place is in the description below.
Okay, we will make a start now. So welcome everyone to our GCSE Biology lesson. In today's lesson, we are going to be looking at cancer. This was a topic requested by someone to go through in our lessons. Okay, so our agenda for today's lesson, we are going to go through benign tumors, malignant tumors, and then we're going to finish off by looking at the risk factors of cancer. So everything you need to know for the spec. Okay, so this is just an overview of what the spec actually says and what you need to know about cancer. So it says students should be able to describe cancer as the result of changes in the cell that lead to uncontrolled growth and division. There are two types of cancer, one which is caused by benign tumors and one which is caused by malignant tumors. And then you need to know the risk factors of cancer. Okay, so first of all, if we look at what cancer actually is, cancer occurs due to uncontrolled cell division. So we know that cell division is when one cell divides to form two daughter cells. Okay, so cell division we know is when one cell splits into two different cells like this, and then these two cells split off into two more cells. Okay, now cancer is when this occurs at an uncontrolled growth rate. So it keeps occurring again and again, and there's no control over it. Okay, something has happened to the cells. So let's say there's a change to the cells. So a change to the cells has occurred. And what's actually happening is that the abnormal cells, so the cells which are not normal anymore, they keep dividing. Okay, so let's say this is our normal body cell, the one that we start off with. This is our normal body cell as well. However, this one over here is an abnormal cell, which means that it has an issue with it. Okay, and it's not carrying out the function that we want it to carry out. Now, this cell will then continue to divide and form normal cells. However, when this cell divides, both of these cells are now abnormal. And then these abnormal cells will continue to divide, and so on. So then you will have a high population of abnormal cells in the body. And that's what cancer actually is. And remember, the cell division occurs at an uncontrolled growth rate. Okay, and because we've got these abnormal cells, and remember this occurs randomly. So we've got normal cells, and then the normal cells divide in cell division. However, one of the cells that have divided have become abnormal, and there are certain risk factors which increase the likelihood of getting these abnormal cells. Now, these abnormal cells, they will then continue to divide and form two more abnormal cells, which will then form four abnormal cells, and so on. So then, as you can see, the population of abnormal cells in the body is starting to grow, and therefore you have cells in your body which aren't functioning as they would normally do. And that's what causes the symptoms of cancer. Okay, so what you need to know is that cancer occurs because of the uncontrolled growth and cell division of body cells. And just look at this diagram over here that I've drawn. This is normal cell division over here. However, when one cell divides, it should form two normal cells. Now, in this case, one cell has divided to form one normal cell and one abnormal cell, which is not functioning properly. Now, the normal cells will continue to form more normal cells. However, the abnormal cells, when they're dividing, they will form more abnormal cells. And at one point, the population of abnormal cells, which will be much greater in the body than the normal cells, and that's what causes the symptoms, because your cells are not functioning properly in your body. Okay, and what you need to know here, the key aspect is that cancer occurs due to the uncontrolled growth and division of body cells. Okay, now there are two types of cancers. One is cancerous and it can be fatal, and the other one is not cancerous, so it won't likely be fatal. The two now cancer is caused by a tumor. If you didn't know what tumors are what cause the cancer. Tumor cells are what cause cancer. Now there are two types. There are benign tumors and there are malignant tumors. Okay, now benign tumors, they are not cancerous. Malignant tumors are cancerous. Okay, so these are the ones which are cancerous. Now, if we look to compare between benign tumors and malignant tumors, I'm going to draw a table out here. So we've got benign tumors and we've got malignant tumors. Okay, so I've just drawn out a table there. Now, benign tumors, they are not cancerous. So they are not cancerous. And malignant tumors, they are cancerous. That's the first key difference. Now, if we go back here, now benign tumors, they are the growth of abnormal cells. However, the key difference here is that benign tumors are usually contained within one area of the body by a membrane. Okay, so they are normally contained in one area of the body. So they are normally contained within one area. And the spec over here says usually within a membrane, so you can add that in as well. So normally contained within one area, usually within a membrane, and if they're contained within one area, they cannot invade other parts of the body. Okay, so we've got benign tumors there. They are not cancerous. They are normally contained within one part of the body, and they are the growth of abnormal cells. You can add that in. Both of the benign tumors and malignant tumors are the growth of abnormal cells. Okay, so you can add that in there. Both of them are the growth of abnormal cells. Okay, let me just draw that line. Okay, now benign tumors is that. Now malignant tumors, there's a bit more you need to know. These invade neighboring tissues and spread to the body parts. And then over there, they can form secondary tumors. Now, this will carry on, and then the cancer will at one point take over the whole body. And then you will have abnormal cells over the whole body. You will have organs which are not functioning as they should, and it can be fatal. So this is the cancer which is dangerous, okay, and it can be fatal. Okay, so malignant tumors, they invade neighboring tissues, so they spread to other parts of the body. So they spread to other parts of the body, and they form secondary tumors. Now, this is the mark that people forget. Malignant tumors, they form secondary tumors. You need to say that. Okay. And you can also add that this is cancerous, so it can be fatal. Now, there I have compared benign tumors and malignant tumors. Now, this is a common question which could come up in an exam. You could be asked 5 marker, maybe 6 marker, to compare between a benign tumor and a malignant tumor. And these are the points you would need to explain in your answer. Okay, and I've just turned this from the spec into words in a table, so it's much easier to understand. So we know that cancer is the growth of abnormal cells resulting from uncontrolled cell division. So if you wanted a definition of cancer, again, it could come up in an exam. So cancer, the abnormal growth of cells resulted by uncontrolled cell division. Okay, that's your definition for cancer. And cancer can be split into 2 sorts of cancer. You've got one caused by benign tumors and the other one caused by malignant tumors. Okay, so you've got cancer can be split into benign tumors or malignant tumors, and these are the key points you need to remember. Normally, when this comes up in an exam, it comes up as a big question. So it comes up either 4 marker, 5 marker, or 6 marker, asking you to compare between the 2 types of tumors, benign tumors and malignant tumors. So it's really important to understand that. Okay, so we've looked at the 2 types of cancer that you can have. We've looked at the definition for cancer, what cancer actually is, and we've looked at the 2 types of tumors that you can have and the differences between the 2. Now, the last point on the spec that you need to know is the risk factors which are associated with cancer. Now, a risk factor is just anything which increases the likelihood of extracting the disease. Okay? So it's just anything which increases the likelihood of extracting the disease. Okay, so now risk factors for cancer is anything which increases your chance of extracting cancer. Okay, and there are a few you need to know. So there's the obvious one. You've got alcohol intake, you've got smoking, exposure to ultraviolet radiation, which increases the chance of skin cancer, diet including fat and salt intake, viruses linked with cancer. Okay, so these I've just put down these few examples now. Now, cancer is caused by a chemical which is called a carcinogen. Okay, so a carcinogen causes cancer. Now, when this enters the body, it causes the body cells to sort of not function, change, so they don't function. They are now abnormal cells which continue to divide. Now, alcohol intake does this exact thing. It contains this chemical which causes the carcinogens to attack your body cells and make them abnormal, so your body continues to the cells continue to divide in your body abnormally. Smoking does this exact thing. Exposure to ultraviolet radiation. Sometimes ultraviolet radiation, when it's exposed to your skin cells absorb too much of that radiation. And when they absorb too much of that radiation, that causes the skin cells to divide uncontrollably. And that increases the chance of skin cancer. You've got the diet, including fat and salt intake, and then you've got viruses linked with cancer. So you've got HPV. Okay, so these risk factors are really important. These increase your likelihood of extracting cancer. Okay, and it can be caused by a benign tumor or a malignant tumor. Okay, so I will just write these down quickly there. So we've got alcohol intake, we've got smoking, we've got exposure to ultraviolet radiation, we've got a diet including fat and salt intake, we've got viruses linked with cancer. Okay, now if we have a look now over here, this is everything you need to know for the spec, and we've gone through everything there. So we've gone through what cancer actually is. Sorry, just go back here. We've gone through what cancer actually is. So we've covered the first point there. We've gone through benign tumors. We've gone through malignant tumors, and we've also looked at the risk factors. Okay, and there are also genetic risk factors for some cancers. You don't need to know the specific ones, but just know that there are some genetic risk factors for some cancers. Which means that if your parents had that specific cancer, it could be passed on to you genetically.